when I'm in the inside Ashi, okay, as I drop in right here, and I'm not going to go into the nuance of like where our elbow is and stuff right now. My goal is to put pressure on with my hips on the knee, and I'm twisting his knee. And there's ways to lean down into this, ways to lean up into it. It's a lot, but regardless, this is called a heel hook. All right, it's about twisting this knee joint and utilizing the anchor of the heel as a lever arm to create that torque and break, right? So that's one, and the heels can break both ways, all right? And there's different variations of these types of heel hooks, all right? And for example, if I were to do an Aoki lock, it's the same movement on his knee, but now I'm trapping his toes and I'm moving this upwards in this fashion, okay? So twisting the heel, all right? Mikey Musumeci created one of these where he's almost like in a knee bar situation, and he traps the toes and he pulls this way. But so anyway, trapping the knee and twisting. That's the common heel hook, and that's the one that you see. It's probably one of the more famous ones, okay? And now we have knee bars, which would be very, I would say, identical to the arm bar, where I'm trapping the joint, the what's it called? The ball and socket joint down there, and then I'm trying to get my hips against the weakest part of his limb, which in this case is his knee, my hip forward into it. Some people will be here, some people will be holding it like this, but regardless, the idea is my hip goes the opposite direction of the way the knee is designed to move, right? With the strongest part of my body, I'm grabbing as far up as I can, generally on the lever arm, which is his foot, and I'm creating that pressure in order to get that knee bar. So knee bar and arm bar are very, very close to the same. All right, now let's talk about toe hold. Toe hold doesn't affect the knee, okay? Toe hold is, they call it a toe hold, even though you're grabbing probably the equal amount of toes and foot, and I'm building a barrier around his ankle joint right here with my forearm, and I'm curling his ankle around, very similar to, it's like a combination of a wrist lock and your Kimura grip. So I get the Kimura grip right here, and I fold over just like I would a wrist lock. So for example, when I get a wrist lock, right, I'm just bending the wrist joints out of proportion, which you can do both ways, by the way, but most commonly this is the popular way. Same with this one, you can twist it either way, but this idea is breaking the ankle joint by isolating his ankle from the rest of his body using the leg entanglement. And you don't have to get toe holds and stuff from a leg entanglement. You can be in very weird situations and still get this toe hold. But like I said, this is not the time that we're going over in depth how to finish these. I'm just exposing you to the different types of submissions. So toe holds, knee bars, heel hooks, and there's another one that's a little bit nuanced. I want you guys to know this other leg attack, which is called a calf slicer. All right, so real quick, let me just get you in turtle real quick. Yeah. So a other form of leg attack is this calf slicer, where I'm just like the bicep slicer, where I'm pushing in here and I'm pulling his, usually down at the toes, but to make this so he's not tapping so early, is I'm pulling down on here, creating joint pressure on the knee and getting that submission. So toe holds, calf slicers, knee bars, heel hooks, they're all different ways of manipulating the, below the waist. And there is technically waist submissions as well, where you attack the waist, and those can be pretty severe. So for example, let's get back in the same spot. So turtle for me. Right? A lot of people call this the truck situation, but I can even get here, give me this leg, and I can start creating pressure where I split his hips and get the submission here. So waist attacks, knee attacks, ankle attacks. Boom. All right? Almost every submission that you see that's going to be below the waist is going to be a variation of one of those. I've strategically right now kept out the straight ankle lock. We'll get into that, okay? But when you see all these different types of cranks and pulls and grabs and like it gets crazy out of control with how many leg attacks are there, how many are being created all the time. It's usually a variation of one of those, where it's like straight on the joint, it's twisting the joint, it's creating torque on the knee, it's separating where the joints shouldn't be able to stretch to. And that is the beauty of the legs, is because it's going to have more friction, it's going to have more angles, it's going to have more knobs and notches to grab a hold of in order to create torque. So legs have opened the jiu-jitsu community up to so much creativity and so much more that you have to pay attention to. It's like we just moved the game from chess to three-dimensional chess. And we have to make sure that not only are we being safe, but we're aware of all the different areas that we could be attacked. And as you start playing legs, you're going to realize, wow, I can get attacked from every single angle. If you're brand new to legs and you start wrestling around with a leg locker, you're going to realize how overwhelming it can be at first. But just by breaking it down of the different ways of how your hips can get trapped and your legs can be manipulated, it can help us, right, with that conceptual approach, start to understand and break down and evaluate how these things happen. Okay? One last little caveat I want to show you, which I consider just a variation of one of the Ashis, is when somebody starts to escape and they're giving you this inside Ashi but from the backside. And then we're going to go ahead and get into our single leg X, our Ashi Garami with a single leg X. So, real quick. Yeah, we'll go from this side, okay? And so I have this inside Ashi, inside heel, and Zeke, he takes this opportunity to step over, and he steps way over, and he gets stuck right here. And if I can stop him from continuing, I can get this leg over, right? I have this same type of inside Ashi, but from a weird angle with this heel exposed, and I can get a lot of submissions from here. And then this can even lead up to a calf slicer from right here. And I'm doing this kind of sloppy because remember, I'm not getting into the details of all this right now, but this is just another Ashi. You want to be an Ashi Garami that you want to be aware of, because as you start to escape, you can drop into one of these, which is a pretty severe and high percentage Ashi Garami, in my opinion. So, awesome. I think that's a very good basis for most of the Ashis, and if not, any other Ashis are probably just a variation of those. And like I said, leaving out right now the single leg X and I guess the X guard. But when it comes to a lot of the major breaks and a lot of the major submissions, I think those would classify as the major Ashis.